The Ohio State Buckeyes have made multiple moves, and we got to break them all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you're an Ohio State Buckeye fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But let's jump right into the news for today. We got a lot of it. The Buckeyes are getting more and more active in the transfer portal. Let's get over to our first story from 24/7 Sports. Ohio State added another piece to its offensive puzzle for the 2026 season, securing a commitment from former Northwestern tight end Hunter Welcing. Welcing, who did not have a rating in the 24/7 Sports transfer rankings, comes to the Buckeyes after a breakout campaign with the Wildcats in 2025. Now, we knew the Ohio State Buckeyes, for whatever reason, were committing their time to looking at tight ends in the transfer portal, and they were looking at backup quarterbacks in the transfer portal. And today they ended up getting both of those things. Hunter Welcing, in his most recent season with the Northwestern Wildcats, what is that? His fifth season, had 28 receptions for 296 yards, averaging just over 10.5 yards per reception. Hunter Welcing projects as a all-around do-it-all tight end for the Ohio State Buckeyes and is highly likely to be our starting tight end should our current starting tight end, Max Clare, declare for the NFL draft next season. That's when Hunter Welcing, a player who was an honorable mention for the all Big Ten teams at the tight end position this season, he'll be taking over next year should Max Clare declare for the draft. So it's going to be a 7th year of college football. That's a lot of college football. Times are changing. But speaking of times changing, let's head over and change on to our next guy that Ohio State added today in the transfer portal. Coming from Scarlet and Game, Justyn Martin has signed with the Buckeyes after spending just one season with Maryland. Before that, Martin spent 2 seasons with UCLA. He's someone who has hardly played as he has only thrown 35 career passes. He understands that being a backup is likely his calling in college. Bringing a veteran in to help Sayin is a great move by Ryan Day. Even if Martin loses the backup battle to St. Clair, having someone who has played in multiple systems and who has been around college football is valuable for the locker room. That's the type of leadership that Justyn Martin brings to the table. Now, Justyn Martin, while maybe not the most exciting pickup, backup quarterback is a position that I maintain and will keep pounding the table for the fact that it is an extremely underrated position. Should your starting quarterback miss one or multiple games, somewhere between 1 and 4, your backup quarterback really matters because you have to make sure you're not looking at those games and going, oh, we're just, though, chalk those up as losses before the game has even started being played. So it is important that you have a backup quarterback who is able to hold down the fort. Now, Ryan Day has decided that he's going to use this transfer portal window to take a specific look at a quarterback who is going to be able to challenge right now freshman going into next season, going to be a sophomore or a redshirt freshman, I guess, quarterback Tavian St. Clair, who I would expect, and I know a whole lot of other Ohio State fans are expecting to win that backup job, but it's always good to have more competition all over your roster. You never want guys getting too complacent with where they are. You got to make sure that people are fighting for their spots and making sure that every spot is earned and positions aren't given out. Justyn Martin is a 6'5" prospect. So while inexperienced, we are hoping that his experience is going to show in the locker room as a glue guy to help let this roster melt together better in an era where guys, there are plenty of players leaving the program every single season and new players coming in every single season. You need veteran leadership in the locker room, guys that have been a part of changing places who can understand the challenges that some of these other players are going through. You know, when we get a first-time transfer or a younger, even freshman coming in who may not understand how to adapt to their new surroundings, Justyn Martin is the exact type of veteran who can help them in that situation. But now let's get on to a new pickup that is going to have a really good shot at starting for the Ohio State Buckeyes in 2026. Coming from Cleveland.com, former Duke safety Terry Moore announced Monday that he is transferring to Ohio State, giving the Buckeyes their second former All-ACC defensive back in as many days. Moore will join a secondary undergoing change in Columbus. Lorenzo Styles, who played primarily as a nickelback, exhausted his eligibility after Ohio State's season ended in the Cotton Bowl. All-American safety Caleb Downs announced that last week he is foregoing his senior season and declared for the 2026 NFL Draft. The Buckeyes are leaning on the portal to replace the departing players. On Sunday, former All-ACC safety Earl Little Jr. announced that he is transferring from Florida State to Ohio State. So now, just a couple days ago, we didn't have any players that we really felt like were going to be starting out of the transfer portal joining the program. Now we have two safeties, both from the ACC, who look like they are, both going to get starting time. Who knows who's going to start over the other one. Maybe it's both of them at the same time, but it's going to be Earl Little Jr. from Florida State and Terry Moore from Duke. What we are currently looking at on the screen right now is the prospect information for Terry Moore, the player who just committed a couple hours ago as I record this video. Position safety, 6'1", 200 pounds, so a little bit on the taller side. Comes from Washington, North Carolina, stayed home to play his college football at Duke, but now is entering the transfer portal and has landed in Columbus, Ohio. Currently being rated as a 90 in the transfer portal, which is good for a 4-star rating. He's the 120th rated player in the transfer portal, according to 24/7 Sports, and the number 7 safety in the portal, according to 24/7 Sports. When he originally came out of high school as a recruit, he was rated as a 3-star recruit, being rated out as an 86. And real quick, just shout out to Hummus Hero 94288 in the comment section, who pointed out for me that Earl Little Jr., our commit from yesterday, his score, his rating, his ranking, I should say, was updated on 24/7 Sports. They are officially giving him a 4-star ranking, rated as a 93 out of 100, the 65th highest rated player in the transfer portal, and the number 3 overall safety. So if you're keeping track, that is the number 7 overall safety in the transfer portal and the number 3 overall safety in the transfer portal. This is awesome because we are able to replace a secondary that is going to be hurting due to the attrition and due to the names that are going to be leaving the program via various means. Let's get on to what we got here. Oh yeah, just a nice little picture of our guy Terry Moore. Gonna be, hopefully he can make a big time impact with the program. Him and Earl Little, we should have a very good tandem at the safety position on the back end of that defense. Let's see what Ryan Day and the rest of the crew decide to do with the rest of the positions in the defensive backfield. We got a lot to figure out, but I believe we have the right administration, the right decision makers to get this thing done. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and go Buckeyes.